but no chicken.
I just wanna drop the cushion and dance and it's going through my head.
What up? Hello, everyone. It is 3:31 in the morning, and I was prompted to make this video real quick, so I'm gonna do it. And yeah, that's why we're here. So today I'm going to talk about some things that I wish I had known before moving into dorms when I studied abroad in South Korea. So just some things that you should know if you want to move into dorms in South Korea. These are some things that are not for every university, but it is common among the universities. So, Editor Nicole here. I did want to add that I went to PNU, which is Pusan National University. So that might be a little bit different than if you were going to Seoul National University or any other university within South Korea. Just wanted to give you a heads up. I can probably do like a pros and cons between dorms and like if you want to get your own housing in another video if you would like to hear about that. Comment down below if that's something that interests you. But I'm just gonna talk about some things that I wish I had known because I didn't know it all when I moved in. So now you're gonna know if you move in. These are some things to prepare for. I just have it on a little sticky note. It's gonna be short, none too long. But before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe and hit the notification bell. One thing that I wish I had known about the dorms in South Korea was the point system in terms of rules. So there are certain things that you can't do that I'll get into, but they do have a point system where you get up to 10 points. And certain rules are, if you break them, they equal maybe 3 points or 1 point or 2 points and stuff like that. And if you break it multiple times and you get to 10 points, then you're kicked out of the dorms. But I know that you have to do like community service and stuff like that in order to get rid of the different points. And I think 1 point is equal to like 3 hours of community service, which is basically like cleaning the dorm area, I think. Or it was some other stuff that they had. I didn't really know about it because I was trying my best not to get no points while I was there. And also, it's more important for people who are staying for more than one semester because if you have points, then you cannot apply to room and board for the next semester. And I think if you get to like 8 or 9 points, then you can't come back for the next semester. But like you can finish out the semester if you don't get to 10, but if you get to like 8 or 9, you're probably not gonna be able to come back for the next semester. And it was a whole point system. And yeah, I was kind of like nervous about that. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't want to get any points. I'm a good kid. I don't want any points. Oh my gosh. So that was one thing that I was not prepared for. Another thing that I was not prepared for was the extra cost to use the gym. And it wasn't like a gym, it was like a workout room. At my home university that I attended, the gym and everything was free to use for students. All you need is your ID. Sometimes they don't even check, but if they did ask, you just show them and you're able to go and use the equipment and stuff. So then I would work out with my roommate or some of my friends and we would just work out, right? But there, I think it was like $100 extra to use it for the semester and I didn't know about it. And then I found out like because I was like, I don't know how to use it or whatever, like where to pay, stuff like that. And I missed the deadline because it was like the first week or a couple of weeks where you had to pay for it and I missed it, so I couldn't use it. So that was something that I had wished I had known. And you also need to prepare your extra coins if you want to use the gym there. Another thing I wish I had known is the lack of events on campus for, room and board. In my home university, I was an RA before I went to South Korea, and we had programs that we had to set up a few times a semester and other things like once a month. So like depending on the floor or the building. So there was always something going on for residents who lived on campus. Along with this, I wanted to add that RAs are not obligated to check upon you or anything. The only thing that they did, I believe, was just the inspections to make sure your room is spick and span. That's the only time I saw them. I don't know my RA's name. I didn't, know who they were until then, and that was the only time I had saw them. It's not like that everywhere else, okay? So I was not like prepared for it. I was thinking, oh, they'll probably have events, and then I'll get to meet people who live, in my building or on my floor. No, I just found out who might be there. If I'm walking and I ask someone, oh, do you live here? Oh yeah, what floor? Da da da. And then I would know that. But other times you might not know who live in your building. Maybe your neighbor who's next door, but you might not know because there's no events for you guys to all come together. One of the biggest things that I was not prepared for was the curfew. Not saying that I'm out here going buck wild, going crazy, but I didn't know there was gonna be like a curfew for dorms. At my home university, they had kind of like a curfew, but it was basically one of the doors was like closed and you would have to come from the other door to come in, or someone would open it and unlock it for you. But that was only for the freshman building. All the other buildings, if you had your key card, you'd come in freely if you lived there, right? So that's how it was at my home university. But for this time, I think it was between 1 and 5 o'clock. So 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. If you were not in, you cannot stay in. If you were inside, you can't go out. So like you're basically like stuck, I think, between those times. So yeah, at least it wasn't where you had to be there, but it's basically if you do not get back by 1 a.m., you have to wait until 5 a.m. to get back into the dorms. So that was something. So if you were out with friends, trying to, have a little girls' night or something, around 12:30 a.m., you thinking, do I want to stay out for the night? Are we out for the night Or are we skedaddling to get back to the dorms by the time curfew hits? So that's something that you have to think about in terms of that. And that was also one of the big reasons why I was like, do I want to do this? Because if something go down and you just want to go home, you can't. Unless you want to get points, because I believe you get certain amount of points if you come in or out during that time. Another thing that I was not prepared for was that if you were to use any big electronics such as hair straightener, blow dryer, stuff like that, I didn't bring any because I knew the voltage was different. But if you did have it, you need to have probably get it from in Korea, or if you had one that had a surge protector, they had to test it out, make sure everything worked fine. And then you have to have a specific tag on it that makes it approved to use in your dorms, because if you don't, then you get another points for that. So you get more points for that. So you have to have your electronics approved by the school to have in your dorms. One thing that I was not prepared for was that there would be no fridges or microwaves or anything for the residents. If you needed a microwave, you could use one in a convenience store, which was connected to the dorm building, but you would have to go to the first, the basement and then get there. So that was one thing that I did not know about, but now I know about it. So I hope you know about it if your university is like this. So there was no mini fridges in your, room, and you couldn't purchase one, I don't believe. There probably would be no room for it anyways. But yeah, you couldn't use it. And if you had leftovers from eating at a restaurant, you better eat it before it gets nasty or before it gets bad, something like that. And then also no microwave, so it kind of limited the kinds of foods that we can have or snacks that we can have in our room. But if you did want to get snacks, the convenience store is connected, so you can probably buy something for them. But it just kind of limited us in terms of the kind of fruits that we wanted to buy when grocery shopping and stuff like that. And the last thing that I would like to talk about me not being prepared for was just kind of obscure rules that you weren't sure why. So one thing that I didn't understand was chicken wasn't allowed in the dorms. I don't know why. but it was something that they said, like, you can't have chicken in the dorms. I'm sure people easily could sneak that in, but it was just like, why chicken, you know? Like, I get the whole no alcohol thing, like, I get that, but no chicken, you know? So just look out for those kind of like obscure random rules that you don't really understand, but you got to know it beforehand. So that is it for my video of just things that I wish I had known before choosing dorms, instead of going through an Airbnb or getting an apartment or something like that. I still am happy that I chose dorms. Like, if I were to weigh my pros and cons, dorms all the way, because it's more convenient. I don't gotta worry about no transportation to get to class. If I oversleep, I can still skedaddle my way there. So that was one thing that I really did appreciate. But, you know, there are some cons to living in dorms. I can talk about that in another video if you want me to break things down for you. But yeah, that's about it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what other videos you would like to hear from me, and hopefully I can provide. All right, talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
She understands that I'm just no bad. No one else.